moving quickly, another handoff to Rankin. Rankin finds a hole, he's at the 30, makes it to the 20, he's got one man to beat. Rankin walks into the end zone. Into the backfield, Braden Wright looks over top, he's going to try to find a man, he's got Alec Tatum. Tatum bobbles it, but he's in the end zone. What a connection between Braden Wright and Alec Tatum. Handoff to Rankin, Rankin right up the middle, and he's in the end zone for a Bearcat touchdown.
That the views expressed in today's show do not reflect the views of KZLX, KNWT, or Northwest Missouri State University. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekend Sports Kickoff. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinick, Nolan Brooks, Austin McNorton with you here on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. And guys, has anyone calmed down from what transpired a little after 9 o'clock yesterday? Anyone?
No.
Absolutely not.
Really, you, Austin?
No. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, and I'm just chugging water over here trying to re-heal my voice from what transpired last night because, my goodness, it's got to be one of the greatest games I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
And for anyone that somehow didn't know what happened last night, because it's been everywhere, Trevor Hudgins with 6.8 seconds to play. Braylon Walker at the free throw line for Missouri Southern misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Ryan Hawkins with the rebound outlet to Trevor Hudgins. And then Hudgins up the floor, gets double-teamed, somehow gets out of the double team, hits a 1-foot step-back floater, I don't know what you call it, hits it, and the buzzer-beater win for Northwest to not only just get a hard-fought regular season win, but also clinch the 7th straight MIAA championship for the program.
I mean, it's interesting because chances are they probably would have clinched it in the next upcoming games, but to clinch it like that, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
It's just phenomenal. I mean, the leaner, everything going into it. A guy, and Austin and I talked about this even after the game. There are so many things that happened after the missed free throw, even before the missed free throw. You inbound to a guy that not only doesn't shoot the best percentage on your team, he's a significantly less free throw shooter than the guy that they had inbounded to before they were in the bonus. I think Elijah Clark, wasn't it Elijah Clark that was a 90% free throw shooter? And the inbound to a guy that is like less than an 80% free throw shooter.
Northwest played the end of that ball game really, really well. I mean, I even take it back to the couple of possessions before where so they have the ball, shot clock turned off with 20 seconds, get it to Ryan Hawkins who goes up, Diego Bernard tips it in, it's basket interference. If they did that at the buzzer rather than shooting it with 8 seconds, they would have lost. So it's just those little things like that you think about saying, man, it's a good thing they shot it at 8 seconds rather than with 1 second. And they let Elijah Clark get it on those 2 fouls that weren't in the bonus. And then when the one that mattered that would have sent them to the free throw line, they're saying, we're denying him and letting it go to somebody else. They played the end of the game so well. And then the last shot was really luck, I mean, if anything else.
Well, it was, and it was, you get in that situation coach-wise, do you call a timeout?
Right.
Do you not? It seemed as though, and you could tell that they were talking about it before the free throw, and they said, well, and I like the decision on a missed free throw, get it out in transition and go, see what you can get, rather than just calling a timeout and letting Missouri Southern set up their defense. However, when the double team came, I was like, call a timeout. Call a timeout. You still got 2-3 seconds, you can draw up a play, you've got nothing here.
They didn't really have much.
And it was just one of those plays where, Trevor has the instinctual idea to split that double team, sees the opening, gets through it, and then throws up the floater and it drops.
Which is unreal that he split the double team not just with the dribble, but a hop step. He hop stepped, took the ball over the top on the defense, and then shot an off-balance, kind of falling away, left-handed jumper. I know obviously he's left-handed, but a left-handed jumper nonetheless. And it kind of just banked in from the back of the rim, hit the net, and it looked like as soon as he had shot it, Trevor Hudgins knew it was going to go in. Everybody kind of just like froze, and I know we'll get into his interview question later, but it took forever. That ball seemed like it was in the air for a lot longer than it was, and you could hear a pin drop in Bearcat Arena.
Well, and for an arena that it's been a while since there's been a game like this. It's been a while since there's been a close matchup. You go back to Missouri Western last year. That one was close, but it wasn't one. What made this one so special is it wasn't a close game where maybe it shouldn't have been, and it was. This was a close game because you had two elite-level Division II programs on the floor at the same time, playing lights out both sides, and it neither team could separate, and it just ended. And really, it really ended. That game deserved that type of ending.
Well, and I think that's what all of us expected coming into this game. A 21-point victory for the Bearcats the first time around was odd. Maybe expect at most 8 to 10 points, something smaller, not 21, especially on the road. So coming into this game, I mean, I could have told you that it was going to be a come down to a bucket, or a couple free throws or something at the end of the game. And, I mean, when it literally comes down to the last shot for the conference title, I mean, you can't ask for much better. And I think the best part about all of it, besides the shot going in and them getting to raise the trophy, watching Missouri Southern and Northwest shake hands afterwards, there was so much mutual respect between the teams because that was an amazing game. And then these teams shake hands, are like, wow, that was fun. That was awesome. And I think that's everything you want and more in a game where a conference title for one team is on the line and one team's trying to play spoiler for that. So it was awesome.
I think Trevor Hudgins was getting out from underneath the dog pile. that's what he was dealing with.
Afterwards, Andrew was able to go and talk with Trevor Hudgins, so we have a little bit of that here. So here's Trevor after his game winner.
I'm sure you've been asked this quite a lot, but what was going through your head in the last couple seconds before the free throw was even shot? Were you the guy that was going to take the shot regardless?
Mac just told me to go. He said, if you don't have anything, call a timeout. I didn't have anything. I didn't call a timeout. I tried to look for people. Everyone was running around all crazy. I just saw an opening, and I just prayed to God, went in, and that was it. That was it.
Now, and how long do you think the ball froze in the air after it left your fingertips?
It was about a year and a day. It stopped in the air. Stomach started growling. I had butterflies everywhere. I was like, is that going to go in? And it dropped in. And I was just running. I didn't know what I was going to do for a game winner. The Michael Jordan fist pump, Dwayne Wade point, like this is my house, or I don't know. But the fans crowded me, and it was a good win for my team.
So that is Trevor Hudgins after the game and kind of joking around. And this is a team that doesn't give a lot to the media, but afterward you saw some of the enthusiasm from this team.
It was a lot more loose, and I say loose because initially Austin and I had walked down to go talk to Juwan Bush, and it just so happens Trevor Hudgins was walking right past us, and I was like, hey, you got a quick second? I can talk to you.
The atmosphere down on that court, though, was just different. Like, Mac was, Mac's very serious. He was down there smiling and joking around, and Hawkins was hugging everybody that he even looked at. And he didn't even know who it was. He'd hug them. Like, it was just that kind of, it was so cool to be a part of.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Kickoff here on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinick, Nolan Brooks back with us, and Austin McNorton as well. Before we talk about the proposed CBA for the NFL, I do want to take a quick moment to just update a situation that happened over the weekend a little bit with my world, and something we talked about last week with the Daytona 500, a race that was postponed from Sunday to Monday, and a story that in all likelihood, even if you don't follow NASCAR, you saw something about it, is a just truly horrifying crash in the final lap of the Daytona 500. Denny Hamlin ends up winning in the second closest finish of the race, but to pick up his second consecutive third overall, but none of that mattered as Ryan Newman, involved in a crash in the last lap trying to win the race, got upside down, hit driver's side door roof while upside down. It was a terrifying 3 hours after that incident waiting on word. And then you start to get the updates in that what was the first update came back that it was serious but non-life-threatening, and that was his condition. And then you get another update that he's doing better. And then you get the update that he's walking around talking to doctors, talking to his family. And then this wreck happened about 6 o'clock on Monday, our time. You get to Wednesday, and Ryan Newman walks out of the hospital with his 2 daughters. It was truly it really just seems like a miracle that I saw some numbers that it was a 50-plus G-force hit in the crash. And it's unfortunate that in racing that's wrecks like this, that when it becomes a national story, but you also see kind of the camaraderie of the racing family that all gets together and just sends their support to a driver. And Ryan Newman thankfully able to walk away from that one.
Well, when Denny Hamlin was interviewed after it was over, he just won the Daytona 500, the biggest race in the sport.
And he just did something that he was only the 4th person ever to do.
Exactly. So there were so many things that happened with him winning. But the first thing he says was, yeah, I just won, but I'm more worried about Ryan Newman. I hope he's okay. Prayers out to his family or whatever. The first thing he's saying is about that, and that kind of goes into that whole I think that's another prime example where you see sports kind of come together and everything goes away. The that was not a word. The competitiveness goes away, and everybody just comes together, and it's kind of a wake-up call, like, this is a real thing. This can happen. We just need to pray for somebody right now. Yeah, you might not have liked him 6 laps ago, and you might have been, mad at him if he bumped you a little bit or something, but that goes away. So a miracle that he got to walk out of that, because not many drivers leave that situation and look unscathed.
The crash the roof bar caved in. You could tell that the cockpit was somewhat compromised, and just the way. That's a hit that's happened maybe 3 or 4 times in the history of NASCAR. Ryan Newman's the first one to walk away from it, and that's just the testament of the safety of these cars, all of the things that have been done over the years to allow that. And I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it just was.
Did you guys make picks on the race too?
We did.
How'd everyone do?
No one. We all missed.
Wow.
Everyone's pick crashed.
Wow. Jeez. That's crazy. Has that ever happened? Has that ever happened on WSK where everyone's...
Yes, it happened last year.
Oh, my gosh.
But
that's amazing.
And Ross Chastain will drive the 6 car this week for Ryan Newman. And that's always a difficult situation for a driver when you've got to hop into someone else's car, because I think a lot of people outside the sport would think the respectful thing to do would leave the 6 car on the sideline this week. However, there's sponsorship obligations that have to be met, so Ross Chastain will drive that car. And
correct me if I'm wrong, Chastain hopped into a new car just last week,
so
didn't he?
That was an interesting story in the Xfinity race, is driving the 10 car with and I don't have time to explain the rules, and this is I don't like these rules, but there's 36 cars start the Xfinity race, 31 make it in on time. Everything else is based off points from last year. Chastain's car from this year did not have enough points from last year to be inside the 5 provisionals, basically, and an issue with 2 of the 3 Colleague Racing cars. So A.J. Allmendinger missed the race. Ross Chastain missed the race as well due to a left front hub issue on those race cars. So because he's running for points, Sieg Racing, Jeff Green in the 38 hopped out of that car, and Ross Chastain jumped into that, so I had to jump into a new car right before the start of the Xfinity race. So it was a weird weekend from Daytona for a few different people, but Chastain will drive the 10 car in the Xfinity Series, but now hop in the 6 Cup car for Ryan Newman.
So he's playing musical cars, essentially, the last couple
right
of
now,
weeks.
yeah, but that's what he's done for the last 4 years, so he's used to it. So that just a quick update on Ryan Newman and everyone. It was cool to see not just the racing world, but beyond that, what was thankful to see Ryan Newman for the most part, be okay after a terrifying crash on what ended up being a Monday Daytona 500. We'll now jump into some more news that came out this week that I don't think anyone expected. I don't think anyone had any clue this was coming, but the new CBA was released featuring a 7-team playoff. One team gets a bye. That was one thing proposed. Another proposal was a 17-game regular season schedule and shrink the schedule to 3 games. The NFL side approved the CBA. However, about just recently here, reports have come out that the NFLPA, so the players part of it, have postponed their vote on the new CBA. So this is a situation to watch now moving forward. Hopefully, if this is the only issue with the CBA, I think it gets signed pretty quick. They hash it out, they get it figured out. But if there's any time you see a vote getting postponed for more discussion, we've seen lockouts in sports before. It's not a great thing, but the big change is, again, 7 teams in the playoffs, a 17-game regular season. I think the bigger issue might be that 17th game in the regular season than maybe the playoffs. I know the playoff format for the NFL isn't, of all the sports, it might be one of the best, just especially with a physical game like the sport of football. However, I think if you want to add one team, the way they proposed it was the way to go.
And something else that's interesting about this is they talk about how if the format existed this past season, the Steelers and the Rams both would have made it. And that could have changed everything. I mean, you don't know how games are going to go. There could have been a lot of different outcomes, but one of the outcomes could have been that the Steelers and the Rams upset a 1 seed or upset a 2 seed.
It would have ended up being a 2.
So upset Kansas City and Green Bay because those would have been the 4 teams playing. You never know. So honestly, I think it's going to add to the game, but at the same time, it's kind of dodgy and there's kind of some gray areas as far as how you're going to incorporate it.
Back to the weekend Sports Kickoff here on X106, also streaming live on the KNWT Channel 8 Facebook page. Jacob Blair, Andrew Botwinick, Sam Steinmeier, Austin McNorton with you, and it's time for Off My Rocker. I still don't think anyone's gotten these right all year long, but that was not expected when we started this back in August.
I mean, I don't think anyone thought that the Memphis Grizzlies would become a powerhouse.
Well, they aren't.
So no,
they're good.
They're going to make the playoffs, but Nolan just a bit wrong there.
Just a bit. Well, it's that one still has a chance to be right. I mean, they could go on a run, upset the Lakers. Some things could happen. So I guess it still could happen.
Plug your ears, Austin.
Right.
Upset the Lakers.
I'm saying it still could happen. I'm not saying it would happen.
I think I had mine right. I think midway through the NFL season, I said Jameis Winston would lead the league in passing yards. And I think at the time he was like 7th.
I said the Cowboys would sign Zeke before the season started.
That's not a very
but
hot
no
take.
one.
It was at the time. It was at the time.
Was it though?
It was.
I will
It
give
was
him some
right when
credit.
he
It
went to
was
Cabo.
It was fairly early into that story, and
Right
everybody
when he
else
was
said
on
no.
the beach.
So, Austin, we'll start with you today. What do you got for us?
Well, I don't know if you guys. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this, to be honest. I don't know if you guys.
Well,
saw,
we had to talk about Trevor Hudgins for a while.
Trevor Hudgins deserved it, but going around in the other media outside of Maryville, Missouri, has been video of Patrick Mahomes throwing passes to Des Bryant, which is just unfortunate. But I don't think that the Chiefs will ever sign Des Bryant. I've seen all of these passes with him, and I think right now what we're seeing from that video is simply that location based on where Des Bryant and Mahomes are at right now, like location. That's why we're seeing these practice videos. Mahomes is like, let me get some reps in. Des, you're close by. Let me throw some passes.
I'll add on to that and also say that it's not just location. It's very precise pinpointing Mahomes. Everybody's talking about Mahomes. If you're the one that's catching passes from Mahomes, you're going to get notoriety. You're going to be the one that everybody's talking about, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Des Bryant can catch still. He can still play at this elite level," because all the videos are coming out of Mahomes. I get where you're going. I don't think you're off your rocker, because as a Chiefs fan, I honestly could care less. And I someone asked me this earlier today, actually, if they were like, "Well, should the Chiefs sign Des Bryant?" I was like, honestly, I'm convinced that Patrick Mahomes can turn anybody into a wide receiver. If he wanted me to be an all-pro wide receiver, it would be tough, but he could probably do it.
And that's what adds on to me saying he won't sign with the Chiefs, because this gives Dez some recognition to go somewhere else.
Dez has come out and said that he wants to play with the Cowboys again.
He did say that.
He's come out and he's had talks with Stephen Jones. And you are not even close to being off your rocker, because, one, the Chiefs don't need him. They really don't.
Right. I think the only time this gets interesting is there's a couple wide receiver free agents for Kansas City, Sammy Watkins and Marcus Robinson. Whatever happens there, if Patrick Mahomes walks into the office and says, I like what happened, when I work out with Dez, I want Dez in a Chiefs uniform. Well, Des Bryant will be a Chief.
Boom.
I don't know if
that'd be a sad day.
Maybe for you guys.
See my favorite Cowboy ever to become a Chief.
He might win a ring finally.
I don't want him to win a ring in Kansas City.
I don't know. I don't know if it would be I don't know if I would like the signing for the Chiefs, but I don't think I'd hate it.
Depends on what the details are of. If he does sign, if it's a smaller deal, I'm definitely okay with that. If it's a 3-year, $15 million deal, I could see that it would be too much, depending on all the other budgetary things. But player-wise, it's not a bad signing if they do sign him.
So, Austin, you're completely normal.
That's fine.
Well, here's something else that's not surprising. The Rangers just took the lead over the Royals in the 9th inning.
Well, your rocker gets even more
I'll do the
sturdy.
same thing I did last year, and everyone was getting excited about Royals and spring training and opening day, and I would have been like, it's time for football season. And I was right. So I'll do the same thing. It's time for football season if you're a Kansas City fan.
It's baseball season.
Go ahead and move on.
I'm not like that.
It's baseball season now. I'm very excited.
It is.
But
so
my off my rocker is I'm going to go to the NBA. Going to look at the defending NBA champion Toronto Raptors. Everyone wrote them off. Everyone thought, they don't have Kawhi anymore. They're not going to be very good. They're 40-15 right now, second in the East. I think they go through the East. They beat the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They meet up with LeBron and the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Win in 7, back-to-back NBA championships for the Toronto Raptors.
I'll preface with saying you're not off your rocker, because if you take a look at what happened in the NFL, the Chiefs as the 2 seed beat the 1 seed, or not, they didn't beat the 1 seed. The 1 seed was already beaten. They made it out of their conference to play a 1 seed, beat that 1 seed. You basically just
that
described that.
1 seed also from California.
But the 2 seed different, Toronto versus Kansas City.
This
but I get where you're going.
This is the NBA. We could end the season now and have the finals. It will be the Lakers and the Bucks.
That's what. Okay, no one thought the Raptors would make it to the finals last year, but they did. So everyone thought it was Warriors Bucks last year.
It was great to finally see some parity in the NBA.
And
it's gone now.
I think we have even more so now that the Warriors dynasty has fallen.
I think we do
as
well.
It dropped. It didn't just fall.
It dropped out of the sky.
Yeah.
It's done. And so now we have so much more parity.
I don't think you're
for
off
everything
your rocker.
behind. I think he's off his rocker.
I think you are in the fact that they'll win it all. I think they could make it out of the East, but I don't think they'll win it all. I think
that's just because you're a Lakers fan.
They're a 2
I
seed.
think even if the Clippers made it, I think if the Nuggets made it, I think all 3 of those teams are better than the Raptors.
They're a 2 seed.
They're a 2 seed. Yeah.
It's not like he's saying that the Orlando Magic, 7 games below 500, are going to win it all.
But I think all 3 of those teams in the West are better than the Raptors.
Not the Clippers.
Well, yeah, but only one team gets out of the West.
And the Bucks.
Only one team gets out of the West.
So 4 teams I have better than the Raptors.
Okay, how many of those are in the East?
Only 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
Then
the only one they have to
one
beat.
team.
So, yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
I'm not saying they're going to beat the Bucks, but I'm saying that there's a 50-50 chance that they'll probably be a team making it out of the East.
I'm saying they're
definitely.
not going to beat the Bucks. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't think they will either.
Just like
but
I
he's not
said-
off his rocker
and
to
just
say
like
He's
that.
I
not off
said-
his rock.
Just
Okay.
like I said earlier, you'll rue the day when you're wrong.
I'm pretty sure, Sam,
Yes!
that the Raptors winning the title this year will not come. So I'm okay.
The new state.
Andrew?
Okay, so the NFL draft
Well,
is
hold on.
coming up.
Normally Andrew goes last, but Andrew knows mine. We're saving me for
It's
the end.
worth the wait. It's not really an off my rocker. It's just it's a good
worth
one.
it.
Is it college basketball? What is it?
You'll
see.
find out,
You'll see.
Sam.
I went with the NFL as per usual. The NFL draft is coming up, and I've done some not really scouting, but I've done some looking around, some of the mock drafts. Here is my off my rocker. There will be 6 quarterback names taken in the first round of the 2020 NFL draft.
Can you name them?
I can name them.
Okay, name them, please.
Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jacob Eason as well, and then you'll have further on down Jordan Love and Jake Fromm.
Jake
I think-
Fromm. Ooh.
I think
I think
Only
five.
because
think the-
only
I
because
think-
the Patriots will trade up to get Fromm in the first round.
I think 4. I think